So today I'm going to teach you 3 ways to wholesale real estate in a declining market. And the reason for today's show is because we are indeed in a declining market. There is no denying it. Prices are going down in most metropolitan areas. Now, you may be saying, Todd, it's not going down in my market. And that also may be true. But I can tell you, in all the markets that have shot up here in the last 24 months, man, they are starting to see the hurt. But even if you haven't seen it, my prediction is that it may be coming to you. I am not a predictor, but all I can tell you is what is happening now. I can tell you that right now in the San Diego market, we've lost approximately 8 to 10% of our value. And in my Florida market, I'd say that we are looking 10, 12, maybe even 15% on the higher end. So you may be thinking, Todd, how do I make money? Because in the last, I don't know, 12 years that I've been investing in real estate and wholesaling, we've been in up market. And so we are seeing a lot of changes. You're going to have to adapt to what you're doing. Now, here is the good news. Your competition sucks. If you are brand new in this business and you're scratching and clawing your way to your first deal, hey, I congratulate you because you're listening to this podcast, you're investing in yourself, and you're not leaving this up to chance. If you do what I'm telling you to do, you can make a fortune wholesaling houses, investing in real estate, and pivoting with today's market without cash, credit, or experience. Or even if you're doing deals and you're building a team, there is something here for you. I briefly want to talk about some of the fundamentals which are causing right now the prices to drop. The biggest right now is that interest rates, right? Interest rates, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago were at 2.5%, which, if you can believe that, that's almost like borrowing money for free if you factor in inflation. Right now, if you want to get as of today's show, if you want to get a 30-year mortgage, we are approaching 7%. What does that mean? It basically means that your house payment is 35% higher than it was 6 months ago, which means that the end buyers, they can't pay as much. They can't afford houses. Flippers who buy our product, they have to get more conservative. They're going to have to hold their properties longer. Their cost of borrowing is going to be higher. Long story short, if I had to summarize this, they need to get deeper discounts. Our customers, the people who buy our properties, either don't want to pay more or can't pay more. Well, what does that mean, right? Because the past 12 years, we have been used to a buyer frenzy, excuse me. And if you've been listening to me for any length of time, I've talked about how cash buyers are a dime a dozen, how they're all over the place, how finding buyers is not a problem. And I can tell you, guess what? The tables have turned. And so now you're going to have to adapt, which is really, really exciting. There are going to be a lot of deals out there. A lot of your competition is going to quit because they just don't know what to do. But I love this. I'm encouraged. Our company is making money. And I know that if you listen to the show, you will make a ton of money and set yourself up for a lifetime of wealth. If you take action right now, if you move, you don't get confused, you listen to shows like this, you are absolutely going to show it. So I'm going to give you three actionable tips that you can use right now to make money in a declining market. First thing that I want to do is, if you want to download the script that we use to talk to motivated sellers every single day, the one that we've used to lock up over 1,400 deals, go to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/script. Also, I would love to connect with you in our Facebook group. Go ahead and check that out. I spend a lot of time in the Wholesaling Inc. Facebook group. So if you want to go to wholesalingconnect.com, that will direct you right there. All right. So 3 ways to wholesale in a declining market. I want to reiterate that the market has changed. Interest rates is driving this. I don't know what the market will do 2-3 years from now, but right now we are facing this. Okay. So no drama there. I'm not making any predictions. I could just tell you what's happening right now. I also noticed that higher end properties are taking longer to sell compared to the other properties. I noticed that cash buyers are also staying away from houses that need a larger rehab. So stuff that's going to take 5 or 6 months, or stuff that's going to require, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 or more of rehab. Cash buyers are steering away from this. Also, funky houses with a funky layout, and also houses that are not in the best location. Now, previously, the inventory was really low. Cash buyers didn't have the choice, and so they were scratching and clawing, and there was a frenzy to buy these. So why are cash buyers so important? Well, these are the people, when you wholesale a deal, these are the people who buy our product. From getting back to the basics, our job as wholesalers is to find discounted property. So we would go and we would market, we would send out a letter, we would advertise on the internet, we would cold call, we would text, we would do paid advertising on the internet to find motivated sellers. And then you lock that property up under contract for a discounted price. We would then take that contract and sell it to a cash buyer, the cash buyer being our end user in this case. And because they're getting more picky, some of them are getting scared, right? They're losing money on their projects. They're getting very conservative. They're backing away. The people who we sell to, okay, are now deciding on what they want. So our job, if you're going to simplify it, is to give it to them. Give it to them. Get them the product that they will buy. So that's going to take me to my first tip. Number one, find out what's selling. Find out what's selling. I can tell you in my Florida market, we have discovered that the outlying towns that people, and I mean like out a little bit in the country, not towards the metropolitan areas, are not selling as well. And so we are sticking to our 2 or 3 active zip codes where people want to live, where the action is, where we see the most buyer activity. And so you want to find out what that is. We also found out, and again, you can do this. I'm going to show you how to do this in a second, is concrete block houses. Now, in Florida, this is something specific, but concrete block houses, they stand up well to hurricanes. They're very durable. You know, they stand up against the elements, are not as mold susceptible, right? Less dry rot issues. And so investors love concrete block houses, both to flip and to rent. We also notice that houses that need less than $40,000 of work, right? The cash buyers still like these. Landlords like those because they could just buy and hold, but also the people who are still willing to flip in a declining market are going to be able to get out of those projects fairly quickly. We also noticed that houses selling under $300,000 are moving faster than those that are $400,000 and above. So does that mean that this is in your zip code? No, it doesn't. But what it means is this is what I've analyzed in my market. My team has analyzed this in my market. So what are we doing now? Well, first of all, you want to have a good broker on your team, right? Real estate agents, and find out what's selling, but you will also get feedback from your buyers. So if you're brand new and you're like, how do I find this out, right? Get the sales activity from a good real estate broker in your town. Build a relationship, build your dream team. I can't talk about this enough. Don't be an expert. Align yourself with experts. Squad up, right? Learn from other people's experience and you will be powerful. All right, so find that out. Then, once you find that out, now you want to condense your marketing. Okay, you want to condense your marketing, and this brings me into my second point, is that market to those properties. So now you can spend less, but more on the things that matter. You are like a laser beam, like a freight train, focusing on the properties that are selling. The most desirable product with the most demand in the best zip codes that need the least amount of work. Oh, like a freight train. You can't stop this thing. My next point, though, is that now you know where to focus your marketing. Now, don't stop marketing. There's a lot of chit chat in the market. There's a lot of fear, a lot of unknowns. This is where you've got to get this is where you've got to have guts. Okay. When there is change, people freeze, and either you could fight or you could flight. Well, for me, I love when my competition flights, because what I've noticed is that a lot of cash buyers are leaving the market, and a lot of them go to direct to seller. What I mean by that is they try to contact sellers direct. So I'm liking that they're leaving the market. Not that we worry about them too much, but also other wholesalers aren't around. So now it seems like our marketing is even having a stronger effect. So I always recommend you better get yourself on a marketing calendar. All right. What do I mean by a marketing calendar? Well, I mean, you got to have a calendar, a schedule of what you're going to be doing. So week 1, I'm mailing this list. Week 2, I'm mailing this list. Week 3, I'm mailing this list. Week 4, I'm mailing this list. Week 5, I'm mailing this list. Or maybe you're texting, or maybe you're cold calling, or maybe you're doing internet, but you've got a plan on what you're doing. Now, why do you need to plan it? Because you do not want your emotions dictating your day-to-day activities. If you wake up today and decide, hey, what list am I going to market? Okay, you're not going to do it. So you've got to have a plan, just like I talked about here. You've got to put it on a schedule. I don't care if you're brand new and you've never done a deal, you better get a schedule. And then you've got to execute that plan. Just like going to the gym. If you wake up in the morning and saying, hey, maybe I'll go to the gym today, it's probably not going to happen. If you've got a week of workouts or 6 weeks of workouts and it's all written out and you know what time you're going to go, right? The chances of you going are tremendously higher. Obviously, you can tell I'm pretty passionate about this. So do not stop marketing. This is the lifeblood of your business. Without leads, you're dead. With the leads, you are a powerful, locomotive, cash-generating, wholesaling, real estate machine, okay? Get really focused on what's working, okay? And then eliminate what's not, okay? Now, the other thing that I'll talk about is that was my second tip. My third tip, and I've talked about this, I'm going to contradict myself from previous episodes. One of the things I will always shoot straight with you. One of the things that I used to talk about on this podcast is listing really low, listing your properties really low. And that used to create a giant feeding frenzy, driving the price up 30, 40, 50, 60, even $100,000 above market price. What we have noticed is that because there is a decrease in buyer activity, that is not happening like it used to. So here is my recommendation. You want to list your properties about $10,000 less than what you actually think it will sell for on the market. About $10,000. Not too low, but just below where you think it should go, so it will get the attention of a bunch of buyers, right? And it may go $10,000 above what you're asking. But we have noticed that the $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $80,000 where we were trying to bid that way up above, that used to work really well. But now in the slowdown in the market, it's not doing that. Now test that. That may be different in your market, but that is real data from the street that we've had to make that adjustment right now. And here's my last part. This is the bonus tip. I've gave you 3. Number 4, you better learn how to novate deals. Now, what is a novation? I've talked about a little bit about this show, but right now there's less cash buyers. You need to learn how to sell to retail buyers without taking on the flipper risk, okay? What is a novation? A novation is when you lock a property under contract with a motivated seller, and instead of selling to a cash buyer, you now sell to a retail buyer, someone who's going to get a loan, someone who's not trying to make a profit, but someone says, hey, I got a great deal on my primary residence. Okay, you can do that, okay, if you list the property on the MLS. I've talked about this. You can do that by, after locking the property under contract, then connecting the buyer and the seller, in which now they put a new agreement together, right, after you lock the house up under contract, and then you step out of that agreement. And the seller will pay you to buy you out of your purchase agreement to then close the transaction. By the way, if you're thinking, why would a seller do that? Okay, I've published a few episodes on novations. You're more than welcome to listen to those. I'm not going to go too deep here, but right now the retail buyers are still buying. They're definitely more picky than they were before, but you can offer them a deal of a lifetime, and you could make $30, $40, $50, even $100,000 on a novation on properties that you normally wouldn't even touch. All right, your competition is going to completely overlook these. Okay, you're going to see them and completely dominate your market. So just to summarize, number 1, the state of the market is changed, right? Prices are going down in most metropolitan markets. If you haven't seen it in your market yet, you probably will, right? This is a function of interest rates. It's just math, right? So don't get emotional about it. The cash buyer frenzy has ended in most markets. I'm seeing higher end properties slow down, things that need more work, funky houses. Okay. Step one, you got to find out what's selling in your market, right? Talk to a local broker who's watching. But in our market, we're seeing concrete block houses. This is in Florida. Again, if you're in San Diego, that's a totally different scenario. Need less than 40K of work, under 300,000, and anything on the outlying zip codes, man, is really, really moving slow. Find out and then market for those properties, right? Laser focus that thing like a freight train. Don't stop marketing. Put yourself on a schedule. Don't let emotion dictate that. Do it week after week after week. The other part about this is don't list your properties too low. I used to talk about listing really low and creating a buyer frenzy. That's changed. Okay. List your houses on the MLS with permission from the seller if you have it. About 10K for what you think it will sell for, right? Obviously, if you're not getting offers, you need to lower your price. You also, my last point, you need to novate deals. You need to learn that strategy in this market. You need to sell to cash buyers. You need to sell to retail buyers. You need to be nimble. If you would love to connect with me, you can find me on social media, Todd Toback. If you want to reach out to me and connect in the Wholesaling Inc. Facebook group, just go to wholesalingconnect.com and that will take you to the group. You can sign up, say hi at me, and I would love to connect. Talk to you soon.